Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Crashy, and today we're going to be watching the second game of the grand finals of the TGS Weekly Series number 2. This is a Thursday night Pokemon Unite tournament that happens every week, and this was Team TTV or Team Luv Deez. They have changed their name a little bit, whatever they want to go with, going up against Pip Champs. And I'm actually going to rewind this really quickly, and so we can see the team comps. So we have basically mirror match comps. The only difference is the support pick with Indiebear on Blissey and Gosu Easy Peasy on Eldegoss. So we've actually watched these teams before, I'm pretty sure, face off, and they're you know, two of the best teams in the entire game. So whenever they play, they tend to play against each other in the finals. Now, looking at the picks, just to make some notes of some things before we jump into it and start, you know, watching the game and breaking it down, is mirror matches. We have Eldegoss. Mirror match, we have Blissey. Everyone's running eject button, no fluffy tails, no full heals, nothing like that. So let's go on ahead and get into it. We will pay attention to all the things. I particularly like watching Indiebear's perspective because he tends to be in the majority of the action. Also, shout out to Indiebear, because he also clips out all of these games, and from my perspective, makes it incredibly easy to find them. So, you know, but I'll have to watch like Zugrug's perspective, or I don't know if Toon streams, but if Toon streams, who I believe is like Carbon and Sub, or like an alternate player that they have, maybe I could watch his perspective, because watching jungle is really fun. But the coordination on getting that first core fish really strong. The early fighting, the Lucario lane is always super interesting. I'm pretty sure Lutano got that one as well. Yeah, he definitely did. So using that, can't remember Lucario's early moves, but that knockback punch into the dash to secure that kill through his teammates or through his enemies, really strong. We'll see what Indy's looking for here. Got a kill in the bot lane. You can see in the bot lane, if you look at the map, looks like the mirror matchup between Snorlax, Cramorant being really aggressive, so that pays off in their favor. And now they're chilling in the top lane. Indy's going over to the back core fish. Lutano is most likely doing score shield things, or at least trying to do score shield things, stealing the camp, being really aggressive. I'm not 100% sure on what the build is for Indiebear, but probably something pretty standard. Focus Buddy, maybe score shield, maybe EXP share. Oh, it's EXP share for sure. So still, you know, rocking the EXP share. We have a nice scrappy 3-man fight in the top lane. And looking at the experience, it's looking pretty good on our side here from TTV's side. Cramorant with a second kill out of top lane. Really good. Indy just dropping out those heals. Let's see, they're going to go for some score shield play there. Yep, from the enemy Lucario. Pretty standard play for Lucario these days. You know, rocking the score shield. And they're just scrapping a little bit. Ooh, that heal actually getting kind of wasted. I don't think Sanji was able to get it, since it attached to the APOM, but they'll just keep themselves moving. I'm mostly interested to see if they've changed up their timings for anything, when they like to start rotating down. Like there's always something that I can recognize or pay attention to, or something that I'm excited to see. Another score shield play gets in, and that's 19. Like, these score shield dunks off top lane are just so crazy to me. Such a meta defining item. If you guys haven't started running it on laners, probably specifically, pretty crazy. I've even been considering dropping like scope lens in some of my builds in jungle and running score shield, and just trying to find more opportunities to just put more points in solo queue, which could be something for solo queue, but we'll talk about that another day. So still jungle Lucario top lane at 720. So they haven't like full rotated down, but they do have 4 people in the bottom lane. So just something to think about in terms of timing, and like these guys communicating with each other and like knowing their limits, because they know that they're outnumbered here, which means that they're kind of diveable. But you know, with 5 seconds left remaining, we have Lucario on Lutano and Toon rotating out of the jungle from mid. And you know, I talked about this in the past, but one thing that you can notice is that like these teams respect each other much more. They're playing much more seriously. They don't play super loosely, you know, meaning they don't want to take a lot of risks. Fortunately, Goof gets taken down there. This is definitely a super scrappy fight. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get out of this one, but with Zugrug going back in, they're actually trading quite a bit. So even though Goof got taken down early, that smoke screen's huge. It's so hard to see, or impossible to see. Nice. So they overextended themselves a little bit. See, I feel like if this was a solo queue game, that fight would have been over, right? They would have got full rolled, but it's the communication that keeps them in the fight the appropriate way. That's the enemy the enemy Unite move from Greninja. So it's a really back and forth fight, but that's still like good thing, because if you look at the kills, they're definitely winning out on this. And nobody's farming top lane, so they don't have to worry about anybody getting an advantage. So right now, Toon is just popping. Like, Toon and Goof getting all the kills. Goof came back to get more kills. The you know, the respawn timers in this game are so small that if you don't, like, cleanly win the fight, I think that's important. If you don't win the fight clean, you need to be very, very incredibly aware of the fact that, like, they will come back, you know? They will come back. So this scrap is not over. 5 minutes 40 seconds on the clock. Okay, so the enemy team gets Dreadnought. So this is going to be a fun one to watch, because I haven't actually watched this gameplay. I want to see where... Okay, ultimate coming out on Toon. That's going to be big shield, big damage. If they can defend this, would be interesting. Doesn't look like it. We do have Lucario fighting against the enemy Crimrant on their goal, probably just doing some score shield things, trying to get some kind of experience and advantage points in that he can. But be interesting. Okay, Goof popping the Unite move, so that'll be good for pushing him back. Lutano gets a kill. So they actually defended this, which is really, really impressive, because you don't see, you know, from our perspective as viewers right now, you don't see a lot of situations where this happens, right? Like, you see Dreadnought gets taken, 1 or 2 people die, they full roll tower. And I mean, I guess the best thing you can say is that, you know, okay, that's an enemy Crimrant ultimate. The best thing you can say is that it's the coordination, the communication that keeps these players in these situations a little bit better than what we would experience on the ladder, because they can actually communicate to back up, they can communicate to go back in, and it turns into like less of a steamroll, I suppose. It's much more mutual. Oof. Okay, good heavy slams there. The tank influence on that, like, 1v1 between fights was really interesting. But Toon is still healthy, which is kind of crazy, because that fight was really back and forth, but it looks like this is probably much more diveable on their end. And again, same thing, offlaning now at this point. But look at the timing of the map, right? Like, they've all rotated top, but we have like second Dreadnought already starting to come up, which, when you have like the offlane presence and you have like coordination, the timing of getting to objectives seems like it's a little bit more laxed. Like, they don't have to go in and be at Dreadnought full 5'd right now, because they're still, you know, pulling focus and pulling attention in the top lane right now. Zugrug's getting focused a little bit. Indy, okay, look, so he gets the score in, so that gives him a heal. They take this tower, and then they just full run out. That's crazy to me. It feels like that would have been a perfect opportunity for the enemy team to, like, really engage them, like, to say, hey, you know what, we may not have many chances for this. Let's see if we can hard dive them. But now they full go bot lane, so they got top lane, no consequence, no deaths, and then they full rotate bot lane, and they have advantages. They have 5 ultimates up at 3 minutes. Probably don't want to use them. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see. And then they have point lead from that last push, just getting those dunks in. So we'll see what kind of budget they're working with here. Like, how do they decide what ultimates to use here? The fight is already starting 30%, 50% on it. Ult's coming out. Okay, so TTV's team does get it. Team Luv Deez, whoever you want to call them, does get, which means they're gonna have a bit of a debuff on them for a little bit too, just based on the timing for Zapdos. But I'm not sure they're worried about that. Coordinated play. It's not like you're just gonna rush Zapdos at the very beginning or anything like that, so they don't really have to worry about that too much. Definitely something for us to think about whenever we're playing our ladder games as well. Like, if you can still get the last one, like, I would say do it, but maybe not with a really low amount of time. I'm not sure. This game seems interesting because it seems like it's been very even, but at the same time, it's been very, like, non-committal from the enemy team. Like, they try to go in and fight, but maybe this team is just way better at fighting from how I can see it. Like, they don't really lose a lot of fights. This will be interesting to watch because there's 2 minutes. They have a lead, but it's not a huge lead, and they have both tier 1 goals up. So they're playing very aggressive. Okay. So enemy Snorlax is down. They're playing really aggressive, and the enemy team is kind of split. Like, they have like one in the top lane, they have the Crimrant in the bot lane. They had their a couple people in the choke. Their Snorlax was in the top lane. Their jungler's kind of going in solo. They're playing really, really forward, and they're holding the team out from even like getting in. He's trying to find his teammate and see if he can keep Goof alive. That's the Goof ult. That's really big. Now the enemy team pushes in because they know that this is probably like their last opportunity to fight, but all the ultimates from like TTV side are going to come out. All right, so Toon is down. That's the first loss. And now there's going to be a staggered time on the teams. Enemy Cram ult coming out. Buddy Barriers coming out from ultimates. So that enemy Cram ult really didn't do a ton. Lutano is just flying all over the place, and Indy's just able to stay alive and heal. Goof is back. So, I mean, even just looking at it, like the timing, there's just nothing they can do. At this point, this is really interesting decision making. Like, look at the time. Like, they just go and push because, you know, what can the enemy team do? Even if they were to counter push them, they would be pushing as well. I like that. That's really, really smart. Like, in the very, very end of the game, if you just go counter push and you know there's no time to do Zapdos, then you have, like, no fear, right? If you're the team that's in the lead, you can counter push the last, like, what was it, 20, 30 seconds or so? And then doing that will, like, guarantee you the win. Really, really interesting. A lot of these fights seemed like TTV side were really, really coordinated, but it also feels like the other enemy side was like a little like non-committal, like they didn't really want to dive in, or like were worried of the results. Especially toward the end there, like the final 2 minutes, they just like weren't making decisions. They were spread out all over the map, and they didn't push in top lane. They didn't push in through the mid choke. They didn't push in through bot lane. And when they finally did, they ended up just losing their jungler. So really interesting game. Like I said, there's just a lot of respect between these teams. Like they don't really take big risks. They don't really take they don't they don't even follow like what I would say is like the normal timing of the game. Like they don't need to be full 5-man in bot lane early. They can take their time because they know what they're doing, and they're really, really coordinated. So like even that period of time where they were like 3-man, like the first Dreadnought, they had 3 people in the bottom lane against 4, which could be diveable, right? Like it could be like they could just get rolled potentially, but they don't. It makes me wonder if that's the other team being too passive, and maybe they could take advantage of being like 4v3 in the bottom lane while the 2 people were in top lane and like rotating down. Or it makes me wonder if like the coordinated defense from a 3-man group would actually be too much for like a 4 or a 5-man group to tower dive. So I when I try to look at these videos and these VOD reviews, I try to take the information and then like infuse whatever you can into solo queue kinda. And it's really, really interesting. This always makes me want to farm more, but then I'm always scared that I'm gonna like let my teammates get rolled. You know what I mean? Like if I stay top lane, or if I go top lane as jungle and I farm a little bit more, is that gonna get my teammates killed? Because Lutano and Toon didn't rotate down until like 7:05, so they gave themselves like 5 seconds to get to bot lane. But their teammates also were in communication with them, so those teammates weren't playing risky enough to let themselves get killed. So that's kind of the difference. If you do something like that in solo queue, your teammates might just die. So who knows? Maybe still show up to objectives early. So that was really, really fun to watch. That was, like I said, the finals match. I'd like to take a look at the scoreboard if I can. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. So Lutano with the most score, which makes a lot of sense. And this was a little bit more scrappy than I thought. Like there was a lot of kills in this game, but yeah. So, you know, pretty relatively decent scores. Like they were putting in work in the top lane when they basically anytime they were grouped up and they were able to do something in a lane, they were scoring. So, and even that Rotom fight, like there was only the one Rotom fight, but I feel like the enemy team probably could have contested them better, or instead of going up there at all, maybe they could have been postured for the Dreadnought that was up, but who knows, maybe TTV would have just like counter rotated for that. So just seems like they won all their situations. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. This one I'm a little bewildered by, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I watched it and I just see so much discipline, and that's really hard to extract. You know, it's really hard to extract. They just play really, really well together. But as always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.